Hello everyone. I am going to talk to you today about the current status and the future potentials for large-scale cultivation of eucheumatoid seaweeds in Eastern African countries. My name is Flower Msuya. I work for the Global Seaweed Star at the University of Dar es Salaam, and I am also the leader of the Zanzibar Seaweed Cluster Initiative in Tanzania. Let me start with an introduction. Uh, Eastern African countries have native eucheumatoids, that is eucheuma and Capophycus, growing in their waters. They grow naturally, actually, in the waters in these countries. But like many other countries worldwide, the farming of eucheumatoids in Eastern African countries depends on imported varieties of eucheuma and Capophycus from the Philippines. Now, in these Eastern African countries, farming started in Tanzania actually in 1989, and then it spread to other countries, to Madagascar in 1990, to Kenya in mid-1990s to early 2000, and to Mozambique in 2000s. In Djibouti, there were experiments to cultivate these seaweeds in the 1970s, but no commercial farming has been reported yet to date. The main method of producing seaweed in these countries is off-bottom, the peg and line method that is practiced in shallow water areas. Now let us start with Tanzania. When we look at Tanzania, we see that the first experiments to farm seaweed were conducted in the 1980s. Actually, it was mid-1980. And the commercial production started in 1989. And Tanzania is the largest producer of eucheumatoid seaweed in Eastern Africa. And in Tanzania, the seaweed industry employs about 30,000 farmers, and most of these are actually women. And the main species farmed are Eucheuma denticulatum, Capophycus striatus, and the Capophycus alvarezii, and in this case, in the order of decreasing tonnage, meaning that there's more production of Eucheuma denticulatum, followed by Capophycus striatus, and then Capophycus alvarezii. Production in Tanzania increased from 8,080 tons fresh weight in 1990 to 110,000 tons currently, and in 2016 a maximum production of 176,000 tons was recorded. This production has now stagnated at around 107,000 tons since the year 2017. The decrease in production is attributed to diseases, that is ice and epiphytes. The seaweed produced in Tanzania is exported mainly to France, Denmark, and the USA, and there are other smaller markets in other countries. When we look at Madagascar, we see that the first farming experiments in this country were done in 1990, and by 1998 commercial production had already been established, and it was supposed to have, it was reported to have increased significantly. And now Madagascar is the second largest producer of seaweed in Eastern Africa, of course, after Tanzania. And the production, the industry in this country, Madagascar, depends on varieties of Capophycus alvarezii, Capophycus striatus, and the Eucheuma denticulatum that were introduced from Zanzibar, Tanzania, for the purpose of commercial cultivation. The export tonnage for Madagascar is that Ficus increased its tonnage, export tonnage from 800 tons fresh weight in the year 2000 to 17,000 tons in 2020. And Eucheuma denticulatum increased the export for Eucheuma denticulatum increased from 900 tons in the year 2006 to 3,000 tons in the year 2020. And the seaweed is exported mainly to America, Europe, and Asia. If you look at this graph on the right here, down here, you see export of Eucheuma and Ficus from Madagascar. Let's now look at Kenya. In Kenya, we see that the first experiments to cultivate seaweed were conducted in the late 1990s to early 2000. And the commercial cultivation is also based on Eucheuma denticulatum and Ficus alvarezi that were imported from Zanzibar, Tanzania to Kenya. And the first commercial farms were established in 2010 in southern Kenya with 20 farmers. And this was actually after conducting successful demonstrations in the farming in late 2008 to 2009. And currently in Kenya now, there are 416 farmers from 10 villages in the southern part of the country who are producing about 500 tons fresh weight of the two seaweeds. And in this country, Kenya, there are prospects of expanding this seaweed industry because there are several other communities that are eager to join the seaweed industry. Looking at Mozambique now, commercial farming in Mozambique started in early 2000 in northern part of the country. And by the year 2003, it was reported that production in Mozambique was 5,230 tons fresh weight of Ficus and Eucheuma, and this actually involved 2,000 farmers. However, the production declined to only 230 tons by 2009, involving only 143 farmers. And by the year 2010, actually the industry collapsed totally because of low production volumes that could not satisfy the market that was required at the time. So this continuous and consistent marketing did not work, so it collapsed. The government made efforts in 2011 when 20,591 hectares of area were identified for expanding the farming in Mozambique. And for now, there is a new company, Celt Marine, which is now involved in importing seed from Zanzibar, Tanzania, to continue with the commercial production. And here I have to say that this Celt Marine company is also active in Tanzania in the same seaweed industry. When we look at Djibouti, we see that trial farming of the seaweeds was done for the first time in the late 1970s using strains of Eucheuma and Ficus that were imported from Indonesia. But however, no commercial farming was developed, and this was mainly because those who were owning a company that wanted to do commercial farming were not citizens of Djibouti, and they faced the citizenship challenge, and then they had to leave the country. So that's why there was no commercial production that was produced at the time. We see that there are new efforts by the government in 2012, the government brought a consultant to survey possible sites that can be used to farm, and also species that are growing naturally that can be used for farming. But until now, there is no commercial farming yet in Djibouti. Now let us look at challenges that these Eastern African countries are facing. The main challenges of eucheumatoid farming in these countries are diseases, that is ice, and the epiphytes, which we have identified as the melanothamnus, which used to be Polysyphonia, Neosiphonia. And these diseases are caused by impact of climate change that has temperatures have been increasing over the years, causing all these challenges. If you look at photographs here on the right, you see this is a branch of seaweed full of epiphytes, and this one here is a close-up of a branch of Capaphycus that is full of epiphytes, and this is a big problem. And because of these challenges of diseases and epiphytes, Capaphycus production has decreased a lot from 10,000 tons fresh weight in 2001 to below 1,000 tons. And this has occurred in Tanzania. If you look at this graph here on the right, you see that production has gone down very, very fast, and production is quite low now. Also, we see that there was a collapse of the industry in Madagascar, as we saw before, in around 2000s because of epiphytes. The epiphytes caused total collapse of the industry in Madagascar, almost total collapse of the industry. And there are also massive die-offs that are also reported in Kenya. Of course, all these other countries have massive die-offs, but they are also reported in Kenya, although this in Kenya it is a recent commercial production. Continuing the challenges, also we see that in recent years, actually, even Eucheuma denticulatum, which is hardier than Capaphycus when it comes to being affected by the temperature, we see that Capaphycus, Eucheuma is also affected, especially during the hot season. And some farmers actually stop the farming during the hot season and wait for the rain to come so that they can resume the farming. This photo here on the right, top one, shows a farmer standing on her farm, which she has abandoned for now, waiting for the rain to come so she will resume the farming. Another challenge is that most production is now Eucheuma denticulatum, especially in Tanzania, because of all these challenges with the Capaphycus. And we have also seen the challenge of market in Mozambique. We have talked about it. So it's also a challenge for these Eastern African countries. And in Tanzania also we have severe fouling by wild seaweed. Actually, if you look at this picture here, the photo at the bottom, this is the farmer trying to remove the fouling. This is wild seaweed that has covered the farms. So it is really bad on the southwest coast of Zanzibar, and it started in the year 2012, and it is still on until now, and the production there is very, very low now. And another challenge we see in these Eastern African countries is that there is no seaweed specific policy in these countries. So no policy that is addressing the seaweed industries in these countries. Although government are making efforts now to modify the fisheries policies and to look for a way of having seaweed policy, but there isn't one yet in any of these countries. So this is also another challenge. Now, apart from the challenges, let's now look at opportunities that exist in Eastern African countries. We have existing seaweed value addition, that people are making seaweed products of cosmetics and food, and this is in Tanzania and Kenya. This is an initiative, or this is a practice that can be adapted to other countries, and then used to expand the seaweed industry. And we have the existence of the Zanzibar Seaweed Cluster Initiative in Tanzania, which is linking farmers to research and government. This is actually a very good initiative that has improved very much the work of farmers in seaweed. And this is something that can be also started in other countries and to expand the seaweed industry. We also have existence of studies on deeper water farming technologies, technologies that have already been tried in these countries, especially Tanzania, Mozambique, and Kenya. And we see methods such as tubular nets and bamboo rafts that can be used in deep waters where there are less diseases and therefore production is higher. And in Madagascar, we have contractual farming that the communities have contracts with the companies that purchase seaweed. In this way, then farmers have a say. They can discuss with the buyer about the seaweed. This is an opportunity that can be used in other Eastern African countries to enhance the seaweed production. We have also an opportunity of that there are farmers that have been trained on best management and business practices. This has been done actually in all countries that have commercial production. So this is also an opportunity that can be used to improve the seaweed industry. We also have another opportunity that the seaweed industry has been recognized as a priority under the Blue Economy Initiative, especially in Tanzania and Kenya, I'm sure also in Madagascar. And we know that the Blue Economy Initiative is something that is coming up, and actually this shows that the seaweed industry has a very good opportunity in the blue economy. And also the government of Zanzibar is in a process of starting a seaweed processing industry to make carrageenan, to produce carrageenan, means that the farmers will get higher prices. Actually, the farmers already get higher prices because with the effort of the government, the seaweed price has already increased from 30 cents of a dollar to 80 cents of a dollar. So that is quite a big jump for the farmers. And we also have an opportunity in the Global Seaweed Star project that is studying native varieties of the seaweed to get good seed, biosecurity practices to get good seaweed, and so to increase production, and the farmers' resilience, what can be done to increase the resilience of farmers, and what can be done about diseases. This is also an opportunity to use this kind of research results. Now, to conclude my talk, I say that we have a large-scale commercial industry in Tanzania that is operating in these Eastern African countries. And we have large-scale farming coming up in Madagascar and Kenya. And we also have efforts in Mozambique and Djibouti. All these countries are able to make a good production of the seaweed. And the main challenges are diseases and epiphytes. Deep water methods have already been developed, which we can use to increase production. And the other challenges are the market, especially Mozambique, and lack of policy, seaweed-specific policy. And opportunities, we are talking about ongoing value addition, making seaweed products in Tanzania and Kenya, which can spill over to other countries to do the same. And new efforts are being done in these Eastern African countries to increase the cultivation. And we have the prospect of the seaweed processing plant in Tanzania, which can spill over to other countries for With that, I want to acknowledge the Global Seaweed Star project. We are writing a manuscript on seaweed farming in Africa. So I want to thank all these co-authors of the manuscript. And what I presented here is part of what we are writing. Thank you very much for listening.